Close application. Hi, everybody. Coach Jay Ridgway, bringing you the newest edition of the Endurance Life 360 podcast. Today, I'm excited to introduce two very cool guys, one of which I've known for quite a few years, and another that I've just gotten to know and become very good friends with. And they're representing a very exciting new company called Velocity. Velocity is an online cycle virtual studio, something that I have now recently integrated in with the PacWest Endurance programming. And so I want to be excited to introduce Robbie Ventura. Hi, Robbie.
Hey, Jay, how are you, man? Excited to be
great.
Whoa.
Whoa, look at that. Excellent. And then his colleague, John Nichols. Welcome, gentlemen, to the show.
Hey, Jay, thanks for having us.
Yeah, so we want to talk a little bit about this is a unique one where we get a chance to talk about products that are available in the endurance world, and I'm excited because I'm actually using the product. I just onboarded in mid-January. Oh no, sorry, mid-December, fully rolled out in January, and now I think I've got 50 plus workouts under my belt, which is super exciting, and building a slow contingent of multiple classes each week that are live. But I want to talk a little bit about what is Velocity? How did it come about? I think there's some unique history there. Robbie, maybe talk a little bit about your success, your celebrity status in the cycling world as well too, and how I know this was at some point introduced early on, and there was some resistance to that. And then the wonderful world of COVID that hit us, and we realized that working virtually was now sort of the mainstream way to do things with athletes. So I don't know how we want to kick this off, but maybe one of you guys can kind of take ownership of that and kind of share some of the story and the background.
Yeah, I'll throw this at you here, and then John can kind of fill in. As a former professional cyclist, I was looking for something to do when I finished cycling, and I was never really the most talented guy out there, so I had to really kind of understand and learn as much as I possibly could about bike craft, racecraft, training craft, and optimize pretty much everything that I could do just to keep up with the guys I was racing against. And every now and again, because I had a decent sprint, I could get to the finish line with some of these bigger races and, make do with what I could and win a couple of bike races by a sprint. But ultimately, I think what I really got good at was optimizing performance. So naturally, I started coaching athletes and helping them optimize performance. And what I think pretty much everybody feels is that they're not necessarily as talented as everybody else, right? I mean, I'm sure you guys feel the same way, right? There's people out there that are so much more talented than me, and everybody feels that way. I wasn't the only one that felt that way. So I think coaching and optimizing performance became more and more popular. And I just naturally kind of fit that role. And I started coaching athletes. We had facilities. We started building facilities here, and we built a few in Florida. We built some here in the Chicagoland area. John was one of our athletes that trained at one of our facilities. And everything was great, right? We were coaching athletes. Our business was growing. John started coaching athletes as well. And I think like in 2014, we had this idea of remote coaching, John. I don't even know if you remember this, but we cobbled together a bunch of crazy stuff, and we actually got this thing to work where we could coach somebody that wasn't in the same area. We could see them, we could see their data, but it was clunky and slow and difficult to do with any sort of consistency. So honestly, we just kind of let the project die. John, if I'm sitting here, just fill me in. But at the end of the day, our business grew and grew and grew, and we had lots of athletes. We were coaching athletes. We went into triathlon. We went into different sports, swimming, and everything was great. Then, of course, COVID hit. Our facility started taking on water. Our athlete load started to drop, and I started to do some Zoom classes, and our Zoom classes like a lot of the coaches that had facilities that lost their facilities because of COVID, they started doing Zoom classes. And believe it or not, some of the athletes, yeah, exactly. Some of the athletes that we were working with really were like, man, you should seriously consider doing this as your business. Like, there's got to be a way to do this. So we put a team together. Obviously, John was part of that team. To try to create a product where we could do what we did in 14 at a significantly better level. And ultimately, our goal initially was to to run classes and to get as many pros and great coaches as we could to run classes for Velocity. But it quickly turned into this ability and this tool that could really help coaches like yourself, Jay, deliver a significantly better experience for your athletes and really teach that racecraft that so many of these coaches have, but they can't get to their athletes, or they can only get to athletes that are close to them or they ride with. We gave them the opportunity to teach that nuance of cycling to people all over the country, all over the world for that matter. And it was such an opportunity for me as a coach that it just, we had to give this opportunity to other coaches. We believed we are the one solution for all coaches that were good, that can communicate, that had experience to build their business without the overhead of a studio, without the overhead of having to go outside and ride with people, having these, when you do a big group ride with a bunch of people, there's liability. It's very difficult to connect with all of them. So from in this business for as long as I've been, we took everything that I knew, everything that John knew on the marketing side, everything that Drew Hartman knew, who built PerfPro. We actually bought that business. Everything that Nick Sigel knew, who built a incredible group software in Canada. And we put this all together to develop a software to give coaches the opportunity to really expand and share their knowledge, but not just to share their knowledge with athletes, but to bring their athletes together, to be motivated, to suffer, to learn from one another, to actually have this experience where it's never been done before. I mean, people fly around on Zwift and they feel like they're part of a pack, but there's really no human connection there. There's no real learnings or teachings or interaction. I mean, it's just allowed us to give these coaches something to put them back on the map, to give them an advantage over AI, to give them an advantage over Trainer Road and all these groups out there that are super cheap and can give a person a training plan and tell them how to get stronger. But that connection, that nuance, that motivation, we finally put that back in the hands of the coaches, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, and I think that's great as a recap, Robbie, and you totally undersold yourself. I mean, over 70 plus wins as a pro cyclist. Robbie is an amazing athlete, pro, and also just a coach. And one of the greatest things about and why we took a run at this in 2014 is Robbie's knowledge is insatiable. He has a relentless curiosity to learn new techniques, new methodologies, apply them. And one of the really special things about Robbie's coaching is, and he's articulated it far better than I'll do here, but what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another person. And to be able to create an environment where Robbie or a coach can connect with athletes and coach each of them semi-individually. There's a baseline of the workout, but being able to share different ways to approach the workout. He'll build sets that you can, apply. Do you go hard and then pull back, or pull back and push harder as you go through the set, but really teaching people how to find what works best for them. And that's what our software is really designed to do. And so there's that coach connection. The other thing is the landscape of software out there, and Robbie touched on it in COVID, is a lot of what people were using is a cycling software, and then a video software, and then a data metrics analytics software. And cobbling those all together was really challenging for athletes. There was a disconnect for coaches because they weren't seeing the data, and really putting that together in a simple solution for coaches, athletes, and the community of athletes was one of our big goals.
Yeah, it's an amazing product, and super excited to see and finally implement that into my programming. Is something, John, that do you have a little snippet that maybe we can share on the screen for the audience? That said, I wanted to make sure there's some credit that's due. Robbie, your company that's been around a long time, and you and I have known each other. We first met probably 12, 14 years ago. It's been that long, when you were coming in and sort of the end of the Lance Armstrong era, right? And having some TV time. But Vision Quest is your company that you've had for many years. How long has Vision Quest been around?
We started Vision Quest in 2020. Yeah. So it was I was just kind of finishing up my professional career, and I opened up a facility here in Lake Bluff, and we started just working with just different levels of athletes. And it was really something kind of small in the beginning, and it just kind of caught on. We were one of the first people to have one of those indoor training studios where everybody can train in like a CompuTrainer studio at a relative output based on their FTP. So it was the first opportunity to get a bunch of people together and have them all train and get the proper dosing regardless of your power output. So we kind of we're one of the pioneers. We actually taught CompuTrainer to turn the load generator back around and face it the other way so the cables line up better. So I worked with Chuck Worster quite a bit early on in that development. So we were kind of, one thing I'm excited about with Vision Quest, and John alluded to it, is that we've always tried to stay at the pointy end of the spear as it relates to integrating technology with coaching. From one of the first people to have a relationship with PowerTap to even from a standpoint of our training camps and what we accomplished on that side of things. So this is just an evolution of that as well. But I think this technology is probably the single best thing that's ever happened to our coaching business. In all transparency, we had a really rough time during COVID, and without Velocity, without the ability to coach people virtually, we might have went away. And not only are we now not ever going to go away, but we're growing and we're strong and we're building because of Velocity and what it's brought to our business. So I love writing Velocity a check every month. It is the best check I write. I thank my lucky stars for them. And I believe that, and I love it because I love coaching. I've always been coached. I've coached people my whole life. I believe a good coach can change everything in your life, not just from a cycling perspective, but from a life perspective. I've seen people at Vision Quest, like literally their lives change 100% because of our business. And I believe we need to focus on coaches. We need to support them. We need to create opportunities for them. And I mean, John and I just couldn't be happier that I believe this opportunity for coaches. I mean, very few things in life are 100% focused on the coach's success. I mean, like our product, if coaches aren't successful, we aren't successful. And I think as a coach, I like that. I like that being tied to a business that the only success they have is my success. And I feel like we're a company that believes that wholeheartedly, from our customer service to our engineers. I mean, these guys are passionate about helping people. They're not like, hey, we're going to get rich. They're like, what can we do to make this product better for coaches? And that's all they think about. So it's exciting, and it's an easy product to sell because of that.
Yeah, and I've loved it. And obviously, John, who's your chief marketing officer, he's been the go-to guy for my motley crew of athletes that, have had their issues on onboarding. It's technology, right? And so we've had a few folks that are technically challenged, and John and the team. And I know, John, you just recently did some special software updates for one of my athletes here. I mean, she hasn't tested it yet, so we'll find out. But I mean, those are the stuff that, Robbie, you and your team, John, you guys are going above and beyond. It's been super exciting. That said, John, do we have something queued up? So we've been talking about the product. It'd be great for the audience to kind of see it. Hopefully we'll have Robbie leading the charge on maybe this video or not, but what can you do here?
I'll play the video, and one of the things I'd love for Robbie, you to help point out here, and one of the main driving things that makes our platform different, and Robbie was instrumental in driving this methodology, is the platform is not necessarily about building fitness. You'll absolutely build fitness. That is your coach's ambition to do that, but it's about developing cycling skills. And so that's where you'll see a lot of this interface. And so I'll share my screen quickly here. I will do the whole screen, and then I'm just going to pop over to here and play the video. The sound should be off, so Robbie, you can narrate through this.
Well, this is funny. That's John's favorite reel right there of that girl doing that open. We actually had that filmed out in California. But so the reason why we like it is because the whole goal, as John said, is not only to build power output. Everybody can build power output. Zwift can build power output. TrainerRoad can. But what they can't do is give athletes this interactive screen that encourages them to learn how to pedal properly. I'm talking about posture and pedaling right now, and I'm having athletes keep their power in a very small range. And as this interval set goes on, that range gets smaller and smaller, forcing the athlete to pedal smoother and smoother and smoother if they want to score points and be in compliance. So that's just one very short, easy skill that this platform teaches. But then you have the whole cadence element. You have the whole terrain element. We can change terrain, and then we can also focus on keeping cadence steady as terrain changes. And Jay, we know how important it is, if you're a triathlete, if you're a cyclist, to be able to maintain steady state power and not burn matches going over every little hill, because by the end of that road or that effort, you're gassed from all those matches that you've burned. So
Yep.
it really teaches athletes how to manage terrain. It teaches athletes how to feel power output, because we can take the gauges away and have riders ride blind. It teaches athletes things like hand positions, and not because the screen changes when you're supposed to change your hand position, but it gives the coach the opportunity to give the scenarios with a steep grade where a rider has to get out of their seat and hold their hoods. And you can actually see the rider doing that. So if they're doing it wrong, or they're leaning too far forward, or not leaning far forward enough, you can comment and adjust and coach a person through how to actually get out of their seat and ride up a hill. I mean, you'd be surprised. Like, people don't learn those things. They watch TV and they try to emulate, some of the cyclists on the road, but everybody's body and morphology is different. So as a good coach, you can see somebody do something and make those corrections on the spot. We reward cool things, like when you have your best 2 and 3 minute efforts. We give you points if you're able to keep power in a certain range. We keep track of your fat and carbohydrate. There's a gauge on there for that. And the nice thing is if you want to keep things really, really simple and take away everything but the power gauge, you can do that. Or you can add as much complication to the screen as you possibly want based on what you're trying to coach. If you're trying to coach anaerobic energy systems and W prime, we can go deep there. You can turn gauges on and do all that cool stuff. You can look at someone's percentage of fat versus carbohydrate and work on metabolic flexibility, or you can keep it really simple. I just want someone to learn the difference between 80% of threshold and 100% of threshold at 60 RPM and at 100 RPM, because those are things that you can work on specifically with this platform. So it's very, very robust as it relates to what you can teach athletes. It's got features where you can connect athletes together. Athletes can kind of form their own little groups and talk within their groups. You can play music. You can turn the music on or off. I mean, the elements here, if you're a coach and you've wanted to do this for your athlete, we have thought about it. We've been in this business longer than anybody else. We have 3 or 4 of the most talented cycling engineers on the planet, and we're constantly evolving the platform. We're coming out with new cool ideas like co-hosting. I mean, there's things you can bring an athlete up on stage and say, hey, tell us about your last 70.3. An athlete tells you about their last 70.3 and the experience that they had and shares that with the group. They are part of that community. It feels so good if anybody's ever done that for you, had you explained something to the group. And it's just a really interactive, fun experience. And I know you know this because you've taken some classes, but anybody listening to this podcast, take a class. See what I'm talking about. It's not going to cost you anything. I mean, I think everybody a 15-day free trial, but you will have an experience that I think you'll never forget as it relates to indoor cycling.
Yeah, John, you want to add any comments to that? And I'll kind of add into it as well too, because I know you've since enhanced the product that you're showing here quite a bit. There's been additional data points added in there. Have been super exciting for the athletes. And yes, I did just yesterday, Coach, brought on my first co-host of my athletes up there. They all were excited at the same time too. It's like, okay, Coach, take me off, because they know they're being recorded at that point, right? But that was super fun. But John, you want to add anything to it? I mean, some of the enhancements you guys have done have been, to what you show here already has been great.
Yeah, we've added, and this is feedback and metrics, and that's what's really nice is Robbie alluded to it. We're all coaches. We're very much aligned with the coaches in developing the platform for them and features, but we also really solicit feedback from athletes. We think it's important to improve their experience. So we added speed, we added power to weight ratio, we've got distance in there. And so we've got a lot of different metrics. So for the people that are very data hungry, they can see everything that's going on in there. And then to Robbie's point, people who just want to be there, just go for green. Just get your gauges in green and just focus on that.
Yeah, it's one of the I love about that is, so for the audience, there's a 3-color code system. If you're not riding in the zones that Coach Robbie wants you at, you're in the blue. or if you're beyond that, which that zone, you're in the red. So the sweet spot for, as John's showing there with the mouse, on the left big gauge, that's your power, that's percentage of FTP. And you see that shaded area that's kind of like 75% to 95%. That shaded area, that's where you want to be. That's where Coach Robbie wants you to be. And then the other gauge to the right is your cadence. That's your RPMs there, and that gives you a wide range there. It's what, a 6% plus or minus within the 60 RPMs is what it's showing there on the screen there. But it's super cool from a coaching standpoint. Robbie, you guys designed this to where it is not an erg system. That's what a lot of the systems out there, you just plug in your software to your smart trainer and then it just controls your trainer. There is some controlling the trainer when you're simulating climbing, which is showing on the screen there. You show a 2% pitch climb that the trainer does kick in. And trust me, your athletes, my athletes know when that's a percentage of grade because you can feel it, but you're having a shift. And that's one of the biggest things that I wanted in a program, because I talked to John about this early on. It's like, this is exactly what I've been looking for, Robbie, is the fact that it's not a fully controlled system. This requires you to shift. And sometimes when I set this up, there's some challenge of trying to find that sweet gearing that you need to be in. And that's what I'm looking for. So I don't know if you guys want to comment on that, but that's one of the biggest things I love about this.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite emails, and then Robbie, I'll let you jump in, is the emails we get from athletes who are used to erg. They learn to shift, they learn to control their power and cadence on this platform. And then we'll get that email that says, hey, I was out doing that same loop on the road that I've been doing for years. And I suddenly notice that I'm instinctually just shifting my gears. I'm maintaining my control of power and cadence, and it's just baked in now. And that's because of what I was coached by, Coach Jay on the platform. So,
yeah, very cool. Robbie?
Yeah, no, Coach Jay, I think you said it right. It's all about trying to create skill development, right? And if the power is already being made for you, if you're just having to pedal your bicycle, you're not really developing the ability to create your own power output, right? And control that power output. So there are times where erg makes sense in certain situations, like the ramp test. You want to have an erg-based ramp test so everybody in the class is getting the same exact stimulus. But for the most part, I think I used to use erg mode way back in the day with CompuTrainer. I thought it was a huge benefit. But the more I've evolved as a coach, the more I understand as a cyclist. I think the producing your own power far outweighs the controlled output that erg provides. So yeah, I love it. I think it's cool. I think if you want to become a really good cyclist and learn all these skills, you got to get out of erg mode. Yeah,
well, let's talk about that. I mean, just like you were saying, I head coached a 16 unit CompuTrainer studio in downtown San Francisco using the Perf Pro platform, which you guys ended up buying and integrating into this product. So from the audience out there, just the years of history and expertise is integrated into this. So this is not something that's just built from full scratch. There's a lot of history and expertise behind the product. One of the things that I want to make sure the audience knew as we get a little bit deeper into it, you'll see up in the upper left corner of the screen, there's the FTP. So Robbie's FTP number is at 250. This is your coach's screen here. So as an individual athlete, you're focusing on just your own data, but you'll see some other stuff from other athletes on there. But it's all percentages of FTP. You don't actually see someone's FTP, because I can have athletes that are 100 FTP, and then I have athletes that are 300 FTP. We're all working out together. We're all being challenged to our ability. But as a coach, where you two know that I'm coaching back-to-back hour hard classes, I try to put in a full effort at my full FTP, 200 plus as well too for that first workout. I can't do it the second workout. And so one of the beautiful designs of this product is I can take that down arrow and reduce my FTP. I'm still operating off of the percentages that are being prescribed by each interval. But as an athlete that's coming on in, we all have good days, and then we also have bad days too. They have really thought through all of the intricacies to help support an athlete through not only the good days when you're feeling strong and you're kicking ass and taking names, and the days that you're either coming off of a hard race or training weekend or a race weekend, or you're sick or you're about ready to get sick. there are fall safe protocols in this that allow the athlete to still participate. Any comments on that?
Yeah, I think that's exactly, you know, I would say one of the most important elements of this platform is when you have a group of people, Jay, and you know this as well as I do, is when you see them in class, you can ask them in the warm up, how is everybody feeling? How are you doing? Like, tell me a little bit more about kind of what you did this last weekend. Ask yourself, how fresh are those legs after that first little interval? And if they're not there, and this is really important from a standpoint of optimizing a workout, this is what Trainer Road AI can't do. It can't really give you enough questions, enough information to figure out if you should raise or lower your FTP based on how you feel on any given day. FTP is just a number created by an all-out effort that you may have a good day or a bad day on.
Yeah.
So let FT have a lot of flexibility, a significant amount of flexibility, 10% either way, I would say. And to really get a good workout in, you don't have to be at your FTP to have a great workout. You can be 10% lower. You can be 10% higher if you're really feeling good. So it really allows athletes to optimize their really good days as well as optimize their really bad days. And that just means the coach giving them permission in the class to lower your FTP and still get something brilliant out of the workout. And if they're really having a terrible day, bring it way down 20% and just learn and work on the skill elements. There's still a lot to be learned without absolutely maximizing power output because the platform has so much gamification built into it that there's things that you can gain even when you're having a bad day.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. I had an athlete that just had some surgery, I'm not gonna say any surgeries trivial, right? She had a decent surgery there, but she was just pining at the wall for the community that that I've built with PacWest, and in particular have enhanced that community with this specific platform. She wanted to come and participate. She wanted to see her teammates, 6:30 class. And so, she didn't have the green light from the doctor to necessarily go out there and start training normally again, but she went in and she lowered her FTP number to where she was just spinning her legs, but she was able to participate. Her data was recorded and stuff like that. But that's the power of what this platform can do, is that somebody can come on in and participate in the same workout, but able to adjust and adapt based upon, what their current condition is. And I thought that was super cool. And I know she got a lot out of it as much as we did, because we were wondering how she was doing post-surgery, and here she is showing up to a workout, right? So pretty cool example there. That said, John, one of the cool things and one of the most exciting things is that, Robbie, you mentioned, you started doing Zoom classes. I did that too. I did it manually scripted classes that I had wrote years ago, spreadsheet, sharing it, had a timer, a clock app that I put on the screen, very old school. Now what's exciting is, at one point I was recording those, and then it got into this ridiculous, how do I distribute those workouts and get it to the athletes who could not attend class? And it got into this kind of mix and match of muddiness of like, they're paying me to coach them. They can't participate in the class. And there's a fumbling and bumbling of these recorded or not recorded workouts. And so there's a what's my return on my investment into Coach Jay and PacWest Endurance, right? This product has helped resolve that issue. And so for the audience, when I set up a 5:30 a.m. class for an hour class, there is a manual start with a 10-second countdown. But once it goes live and hits 0, that class is live and it's being recorded automatically. And what's awesome is that there is the corresponding clock. I don't know how you determine how you describe that, John, where there's a clock that says 1 hour and then it begins to count down, and then it shows, how much time we've been in the workout, but sharing simultaneously on the screen, so that when that gets down to 10 seconds to go, I'm saying, hey guys, great workout, awesome day. Everybody have a great day. Hydrate, stretch, do what you need to do. We'll see you in a couple of days on Thursday if it's a Tuesday class. Otherwise, have a great weekend. It goes to 0. It automatically processes and uploads into my PacWest Endurance library. That is a game changer from a coaching standpoint, because the athletes that miss the workout, guess what? Their work, travel, vacation, they can go do the workout later on the day, the next day, or whatever days, and they can find that in their library, based upon their subscription with me. and be able to do the workout on their own. Now, they don't get the class environment, but the cool thing is they get the live coach workout with me recording, me coaching, me having the banter with the audience that you love to do too, Coach Robbie. They get to experience all that. That is a game changer to me. I don't know if you guys want to add to that, but I mean, when you guys thought through how you wanted to program that, I now have how many, couple, 2-3 months in, I have 50 plus workouts in my library now. That's massive from a coaching standpoint and value add, right? Comments?
You can take, the nice thing about that is, coach, is you can take those workouts now, because face it, as coaches, we might have 100 different workouts that we've created in our lifetime. We modify them, we change them, we adjust them, whatever. But ultimately, there's only so many workouts that you can produce, right? Now, once you've recorded those workouts, what I do with my athletes, because sometimes I want them on Saturday to do a nice, steady 3x15-minute interval threshold set. But I'd rather have them do it with me in the way I've coached it. So now I can take that link from my on-demand library, put that in the training plan for them to do on Saturday, and they can do any workout that I have ever created in our VQ virtual account, and I can put it in every single coach's account. Not only that, is we've created a huge bucket of threshold, VO2 max, and blended workouts that all of our coaches have access to. So now every coach in the Vision Quest network can use these, interactive workouts and put them in their athletes' plans, and their athlete just clicks on the link, boom, up comes velocity, and they're doing a workout with me or with Heather or with one of our coaches. That is the exact workout, hopefully, that athlete was supposed to be doing on that day.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
And what Robbie does a really nice job of, and the other coaches at Vision Quest, and Jay, I think you're doing this as well, but you can have a one-to-one athlete where you invite them to come to the Tuesday workout, live workout, because that makes a lot of sense for them. But on Thursday, you can prescribe the on-demand workout that's a little more appropriate for the race build that they're in, and then invite them back to a Saturday ride to be part of the community and do a live ride. And so that's where the on-demand workouts can really help to enhance a one-to-one athlete's experience while also keeping them connected to that community.
Yeah, even to add to that, I've built workouts where I haven't recorded it live. I can script out these workouts. So I'll give you a good example. I've got some junior elites that I'm coaching that are competing at USA Triathlon elite level. And that's a different style training program than the prototypical athletes that I'm coaching from a traditional non-draft legal, Olympic distance and then Ironman distance workouts. And so the challenge for me as a coach is that it's a different prescribed type of workouts, right? And so I'm able to still get the athletes to participate in my live coach workouts because, as you know, Robbie, I mean, they're all kick-ass workouts, right? Let's just be honest. They're all hard workouts, and there's benefits to them of the different styles. But when I get into these draft legal youth junior elite sessions, I'm doing and prescribing these HIIT interval workouts that are this high intensity, just like you as a sprinter, Robbie, right? That's a different style of training than these long endurance efforts with mixed in tempo that the Ironman athletes are doing. And so I'm able to prescribe that. Now, I'm not necessarily having to coach them, but I'm prescribing them to my young athletes and they're doing them. And they're like they're like, coach, that was like one of the hardest workouts I've ever done in my life. And I know they're getting a lot of benefits from that. Robbie, you're smiling because I know you know the style of workout I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, like I said, we change up our workouts. We do it a little bit differently because we want all of our coaches to understand the consistency of our workouts. We have Tuesday VO2, Thursday threshold, and then Saturday blended. And it might not be right to have your athlete do a Tuesday VO2, a Thursday threshold, and a Saturday blended. So maybe for some of the athletes, they only do the Thursday threshold, and then on Tuesday, they need another threshold day because that's their focus at this point, and they'll take one from the on-demand library. So they'll do one live and one on-demand. So I think it's all on how a lot of different coaches have it a lot of different ways. We just tried to make it a little bit simpler so our coaches could really understand what live workouts are going to be ideal for their given athletes, because sometimes it's not ideal, or sometimes they have to reduce the threshold down to tempo. So what's interesting is when you have a system like we have in place, our coaches that want an athlete to do a tempo workout instead of a threshold, they say, hey, go do Robbie's Thursday threshold, but drop your FTP 10%. So instead of a 0.8 intensity factor, it's a 0.7. So it's just how people set it up. But the nice thing about it is my feeling, and John knows I feel strongly about this, the benefit of a taught class where you're learning skills, you're being motivated, you're enjoying yourself, even if it's not perfectly ideal for the athlete. Like they should be doing, 3x15 and my class is 3x10. My feeling is they'll get more of a 3x10 workout because it's taught properly and they're optimizing their workout than they will doing a 3x15 on their own, where they may be going too easy, they may be going too hard, but not working on skills. So I just believe the nuance of our sport is so important. It has such a huge impact on how fast and how enjoyable and how well someone is, that I would probably trade a live workout that's not perfect for a outdoor workout done by themselves that is perfect.
Yeah.
And
100%.
the one thing I wanted to add on what you said, Jay, which you mentioned two of the formats that we have, which is live and then it records and it's available on demand. One of the nice things about the platform is we've developed a third format, which is called replay. And it's exactly like a live class. It starts at a specific time. All the athletes are live. They see each other, talk to each other, interact with each other. Leaderboard is live, but it takes the coach's video from when they originally did it and runs that during the class. So what's nice is the coach, 5:30 in the morning is pretty early, Jay. So there are some people who don't want to be there. You can put a replay on at 9 a.m. and athletes who didn't want to get up early will go at 9. And what we see with coaches is it really strengthens their community. There's athletes who just all know they're going to see the same athletes at 9 o'clock. They start to pod together. They form a tight knit, and that helps with the coaches for retention as well. And so it's a really nice feature to give athletes more options and coaches more options throughout the day for their athletes to connect.
Yeah, well, I will say my 5:30 class has grown to be one of, if not stronger than my 6:30 original class, just because I'm coaching it, Robbie. I'm coaching the class. And you're getting people up at 5 in the morning, some that need to get up a little bit earlier to get their coffee in them or whatever, but it's super cool. It's exciting. It motivates me. I mean, if I don't have to coach a 5:30 class, I wouldn't probably want to do it, right? But I am, because it's a successful class, and it's mostly because of the success of the platform. That said, I know the audience is in there. Hopefully, we're not necessarily catering to an audience of coaches, right? There may be a few that'll see this video, but it's mostly the participant. John, kind of let's talk about, you're the marketing guy. How does an athlete get involved, and how would they specifically, let's say, get involved with PacWest Endurance? How do you get started to try it out, as Robbie had invited people to do earlier?
Yeah, I mean, it's really nice that all coaches they have their own private business on the platform. So your content is only available to people who you invite or find the link to join your portal. There's a free trial, so people can absolutely come and join you. And we try to help coaches promote their business, help them with content of them teaching a class. And then during that free trial, athletes are able to see all of the content that the coach has and really get a good feeling for the experience on the platform. And then they can decide to join at whatever level that the coach makes available to them. And we find that's been really helpful for coaches to expose athletes to what they're doing and then really get them immersed in the experience.
For 14-day or 15-day trial?
14-day free trial, and then they opt in to join through the coaches portal.
Yeah, so that's something that I'm going to hopefully use the podcast. I'm going to do an outreach, coach to my I should say coaches to my my full database. A lot of athletes over the years that have come and gone, and hopefully we can re-engage them, because again, they don't have to come to a physical studio anymore. I'm not in San Francisco anymore. I'm over the hill in Reno, Nevada. But the cool thing is I've got currently athletes all up and down the West Coast, here locally as well too. So there are no restrictions for that. It's endless. I mean, Robbie, I've attended your live coaches in the past. I mean, you have 40, 50 people on there from all over the damn place, right? It's super cool.
It is cool. I mean, and for kids, I mean, you mentioned that you have a kids program. To me, as a parent of 4 kids, John's got a couple kids. I think it's a great opportunity for kids to learn without being out on these roads. I know as a parent, I get a little bit nervous about being out on the road. So from a
100%.
standpoint of getting kids excited about the sport of cycling, teaching them how to do the really important stuff, even how to hold the handlebars, how to dress, like so much can be taught to these youngsters and getting excited about the sport, having them see other kids in the sport as well. So I really think there's huge opportunities for youngsters, 100%. But yeah, you mentioned something earlier. You have a good time teaching these classes. I think one of the things that you can feel from this platform is the coach is having a good time, seeing the athletes. It's fun to make the workouts. It's fun to have gamification. It's fun to lead a class indoors. I mean, it's really rejuvenated me as a coach to run classes. I stopped running indoor, comp trainer classes 10 or 15 years ago. And boy, am I excited every time I hop on that bicycle and can coach a big class, even if it's just a couple people. I mean, small classes are great too. Like the connection you can make with just a few people in class,
Yeah.
the level of support and help that you can give people. So there's benefits to both, that's for sure.
Yeah,
And
I think.
it's sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
John. Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, Robbie really touched on it's fun for us to be able to look at a number of coaches across the platform in the diversity of styles and really the culture and community that they create. There are some classes that are workouts we go into and the coaches got 48 athletes, and it's very much the coaches sharing out information and also interacting. And then there are smaller coaching groups that it's 4 or 5 athletes and a coach, and it almost feels like the old school back of a bike shop, just a group of CompuTrainers together and everyone's just interacting. So it's nice to be able to see the coaches' different styles connect with their communities and build online.
Absolutely. I think we're getting close to wrapping this up, or about ready to wrap it up. A couple key things just want to reiterate, John, for getting an athlete on board, successfully utilizing the platform: Bluetooth technology,
Yes.
smart trainer, cadence sensor, and ideally adding in a heart rate monitor strap or forearm wrap or whatever there. Anything else that we should be aware of in terms of technology?
Well, the thing that I think is interesting about the platform is you can have everything from very complex, where someone's using a power meter for power and cadence and a smart trainer for resistance and a heart rate strap, and those can be really dialed in. We see all the way to the other side where someone has an iPad and it's on their Peloton or even a spin bike at the gym, and they just like the community connection and the coach instruction, and then they grow up through the food chain. But we see a lot of different connections, but probably the most common is a smart trainer via Bluetooth.
Yep.
And coach, I don't know if you've experimented with strength training as well. Like what's really helped our program take off to another level is we've included that velocity strength training program that's included in the program if you want it. And it's really an effective strength training program where people can do them on demand at their own pace. And for our coaches at Vision Quest, almost, I'd say a large portion of our athletes now are going to Velocity for their strength training and their Pilates. So it's cool. I mean, Velocity has it included if you want it. And so, yeah, we use it and we love it. And it's just another element to the platform that I think is huge leverage.
Yeah, that's next level for me. Pac West, its roots were outdoor group boot camp programs all
Cool.
throughout the entire San Francisco Bay Area. 14, 15 programs at one point throughout the entire Bay Area region, 12, 13 staff members coaching those regionally there. That was the heyday of Pac West. Those days are long gone. I have no interest in doing that again. But what's cool about this platform, and that's something, John, you and I can work on, but I could probably pull out some of those old boot camp style workouts. Granted, it'd be in front of a camera, but I think I could probably maybe not this old broken down body, but maybe we'll get some of the younger generations out there, coaches that I'm working with. But yeah, super cool to know that that's an option to integrate in. It's just providing, again, value add to our coaching services, right? Right, Coach?
Yep, absolutely. And like I said, we didn't do it. a person that Velocity hired to do this program is, I think she just does a really good job, and she's really, she's a PT and she's focused on safe strength training. So you should give it a look, coach, and see what you think. If you like it, you can just use it. If you don't like it, you can do your own stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah, I like it. I'll look into it deeper. That said, closing notes here, gentlemen. Anything, final words you want to say to the audience before we wrap things up and let you guys get back at it, going and heading into the weekend?
The only thing I would say is, if you're thinking about going to Coach Jay's classes, go and try the classes. You will love them. Jay's a really great coach. He knows a lot. It's not about, every coach understands how to build threshold power. Every coach understands how to improve someone's VO2 max. The really great thing about coaching is that you understand that the coach cares about you, wants you to be better. And that takes a lot more than how hard and how long. That takes someone talking to you, teaching you, motivating you, sharing with you experiences, making you feel special. That's what Jay can do. That's what this platform can do. So if I can say anything else, it's go spend some time with Jay, and it'll be significantly more effective than you just going out there and doing a workout. There's another level to coaching, and let Jay provide that for you.
And the only thing I'd add on the coaching, and you're spot on there, Robbie, is the community. I work harder when I'm riding, and I know other athletes are in there. I know my buddy Jim's in there, Nick's in there, Drew. I know they're watching my numbers. I'm putting in a harder effort on that, and just the accountability, and then the inclusion. When I wake up and I got to go downstairs at 5:30 to do a workout by myself on another training platform, I don't do that anymore, because I want to see, I know I'm going to see other people, and it's easier to get out of bed and go down and hop on and see a bunch of faces I'm looking forward to seeing, and a coach who cares.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I appreciate the kind words there, gentlemen. Excited to have found you guys. Thanks for the persistence of the marketing emails, John. And I'm a believer. I'm implementing it. I'm part of your network. The success is shared, and excited to share the word about that, and we'll grow this community. But appreciate your guys' time. Have an awesome weekend, guys. The audience, hopefully, as I like to say in my Endurance Life 360 podcast, hopefully you guys learned some nuggets of knowledge, as I like to say. Come on out, check out the platform, 14-day free trial. Just ping us at PacWest Endurance, and we'll go from there. All right, guys. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you.